Welcome to the PhDJ Podcast, starring Joe Bunn and Mike Walter. Joe's from North Carolina, Mike's from New Jersey. They couldn't be more opposite in so many ways, and yet they each run successful DJ companies. Who's right? Who's wrong? Find out now on the PhDJ Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the first ever PhDJ Podcast. I am I'm kind of bunkered down in my basement here in New Jersey. It's winter, and Joe tells me it's what, Joe, in Raleigh?
75. A balmy 75 I've got on a T-shirt.
Ah, good for you. Everyone in the Northeast hates you right now, Joe. Congratulations.
I'm trying to decide how long this conversation is going to go on before one of us starts cussing, and then it just rips the Band-Aid off, and it's just absolute filth.
Well, didn't we have this conversation? I thought we were going to be clean. I thought we were going to, at least episode 1, let's no F or S bombs, okay? Nothing that Trump would say. Let's put it that way. How about that?
All right, we'll try. I'll give
it
a shot.
I teased the concept of this, and somebody said you have big shoes to fill, because I used to do a podcast, weekly podcast with Vincent Velasquez. And but I do want to clarify, this is not, Vinny and I used to get together once a week. We would talk about politics. We'd talk about sports. We would talk about the DJ business and the wedding industry, but not much. This is really going to be business focused, right?
Right. I agree. Yeah, I definitely used to listen to those, especially whenever you guys said you talked about me. I really listened to
that was our key to getting listenership. We would mention you for 2 seconds, Marcello, KC, and then we would tag you guys and then make you listen to the whole hour.
That's right. Which was genius. Genius marketing plan. But it got me to listen. And of course, like you said, I think this is a little more DJ business related. I think it can apply to multi-ops and single ops. Don't you, Mike?
I think so. I think it's going to be very similar to our workshop, which is, it's geared for both. Obviously, if you are a multi-op, I've always felt this. If you're a multi-op and you go to a DJ convention, you're going to get more out of it because anything you take away, you can hand down to your crew and your staff. And so you kind of get nuggets times multiplied by how many people you have on staff. So I think you do pull away if you're a multi-op. But then again, if you're a single op, you probably need fewer nuggets to help fill your calendar. So it's all probably pretty relative.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, every time we've done a workshop, we've had a mixed bag. We've had guys that have, one guy, 2 guys, and then we've had guys, like Glenn down in Texas has 12 guys, 15 guys, or Clock, or, any of these guys that are doing multi-op. Everybody takes something away from it. And I hope that people get that same vibe from this podcast, to be honest with you.
True. And that was a great job of mentioning 2 people who we can now tag and get them to listen. Good job. Ding. I like how Clock is like Cher now. He's just the one. We just go with Clock. and everyone knows who we're talking about.
Oh man, maybe I can just get to Bun. Just go to Bun.
I think so. I think most industry people, if they just heard Bun, and with me it would be Walters.
Walters, right? They would totally jack that up.
And then they'd know. Yeah.
Did you see on your Motley Crue post today that I've changed my name to Joe Bun with an umlaut over the O and the U?
As I've done the research on this Today in Music project that I'm working on, it is amazing how many heavy metal bands go with those umlauts, and it's just a way to take a normal word and just give it that German tough
F-U,
kinda,
right?
Yeah, exactly, right. But that was close, Joe.
Close.
Middle finger.
I did. It was
close.
It was almost, yeah.
That's it. All right. So what's our business topic in podcast number 1?
We're going sales, right? It's all about the sales game, I think, today.
Yeah, we're knee deep in it, right? January's here. We're already taking in a ton of leads. You guys too?
Oh man, we're taking in a ton of leads. A lot of people got rings over, obviously, the holidays, Christmas, and New Year's, and the leads are coming in. We, I know you guys do your showcases up there, and that's mostly put on by you guys, right? It's more of a private thing, like you're the...
Well, we do both kinds.
Okay.
This past weekend, we did 2 showcases where they were produced by production, bridal show production companies.
Okay.
And we just paid to have a booth. And then we have one coming up, our first one, February 2nd, which is going to be our own. We call it a private DJ showcase, where we rent out the room. We invite the brides in. We're the only ones performing. And those are very successful for us as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's ironically, over the years, like I had mentioned to you before, you've heard me speak about the really big one, which unfortunately for a lot of vendors, sadly got canceled. The fairgrounds and the convention center are so booked up they couldn't even reschedule it, but it got canceled because of that ice storm a week ago. So again, for some of these smaller vendors, they would book their entire year off that big show. I mean, they would have 1,200 people come through there over 2 days, 200 or 300 vendors. We don't do those anymore, so to speak, but we're doing a lot of these real, what I call boutique-y kind of shows, where we're the only DJ and they might only have maybe 100 people come through, normally put on by the vendor or something like that. So again, just kind of off topic, but a little bit of a different showcase style. But we've literally got 4 in the next 4 weeks that I'm kind of spacing out amongst Randy and Mark and some of my other guys to kind of staff, and myself, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So just
we're kind of the same way. We're every weekend in January we have one. I think we skip Super Bowl weekend, and then we have we're pretty busy, in February as well. This is the time of year. I mean, I hear some guys complain about sales being down, and I ask them how many shows they're doing, and they're not doing any. And I'm like, well, if sales are down, why aren't you at least taking a booth? Now, from the presentation that I give at the workshop, we do a lot more than just take a booth. At most of the shows we do, we actually showcase. We put on a 20, 25-minute little simulation of what we can do at weddings, where we do mock bridal party introductions. We get people up and dancing. So that's a lot more elaborate, and it's also a lot more interactive than a lot of companies want to be. But we take it to that next level. We're not just having a booth, but we showcase at these.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, here it's some of these things we're asked to play music at, which again would be ambient or background noise, and then do a lot of talking. Handing out cards, talking to people about their venue. More talking than performance, really. More meet and greet, if you will.
Right. What kind of literature do you hand out?
Mike, it's kind of that, age-old battle between give out pricing or not give out pricing. I mean, we found out early on when we were doing the bridal show or wedding show or expo, whatever you want to call it, that was the main thing. If somebody stopped, and again, this would be kind of the cattle call style where you've got hundreds of people coming and you're just trying to capture their attention for a second. They were walking around and, turning their mother-in-law around and trying to scribble down our prices on their back. And so we were just doing these 4x6 postcards, with a nice graphic on one side and on the back, either our packages or prices.
Mm-hmm. So you will, at a show, if somebody says, what do you guys charge? You've got something pre-printed you'll hand out.
That's correct. We just go ahead and give it right out. And I'm kind of that way as well with the email game. I just feel like with us, that's what people want. I don't want to kind of do this, baiting it and dangling a carrot in front of them type thing. I feel like everybody's busy. Everybody's got a budget they need to stick to, and I give it to them.
Yeah, I mean, we're the same way at Elite. We don't have our prices on a page on our website.
Yeah.
We have it on a hidden page, which we will send you. All we ask for is some basic information: your name, your wedding date.
Yep.
That's it, and your email address, obviously.
Same here.
Just so that we can do some kind of follow-up. But we don't make you jump through hoops and meet with us. And I know there are some people that's their philosophy. I can't give you price, so I meet with you. I get that side of the argument, but if I'm the consumer and one of my first questions is, are you available and what's your price? And you won't answer one of those 2 questions, I would probably be reluctant to meet with you.
I mean, I agree, and I always compare sometimes the service industry to the retail industry. I mean, if you went into Best Buy right now to buy those headphones on your head, I mean, that's the first thing you're going to look for. You want to know, are they $299 or are they $99? That decides whether you're going to buy it or not. I mean, it's a service industry, but at the same time, it's everything. Everybody has a budget and a price in mind, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think that's why the headphone analogy isn't perfect, because this is something that's manufactured. If I buy this headset at these headphones at Best Buy or Guitar Center, they're the same headphones. Obviously, right. DJ-wise, and we both know that. I mean, you guys have a much different approach than a lot of your competitors down there, similar with Elite. And so it's not just book one DJ, get the same type of thing, so let me compare price. When you're dealing with a service, the difference between experience as far as past experience and the ultimate experience of the client is always going to be a little bit different. So I do get the fact that we want people still to come in, either to meet with us or to showcase. But I also understand that price should never be, I don't think, withheld where some guys do that.
Yeah, I think you and I definitely agree with that same school of philosophy. We'll talk a little bit about, Mike, like when somebody does send in a lead and kind of how it trickles down through your people and ends up, a show, if you will. And then I'll kind of tell, our way.
Yeah, so I've got two full-time salespeople who work in my office. They both happen to be DJs for me, Dominic and Chris, and they do the vast majority of the sales. Lynn, my office manager, and myself will, we will help out when, especially this time of year, super busy, too many leads coming in. But for the most part, Chris and Dominic handle them, and they will take the lead. They enter it into DJ Event Planner, which I'm pretty sure you use as well, right?
Right, correct.
Yeah, so it goes right in there, and then the emailing begins, the contacting begins. We try to get that client in for an appointment, and again, that's either Dominic or Chris who are meeting with them, or we try to get them to come to a showcase where they can see us perform. So I try not to get my DJs involved too much in the sales process. I know you differ on that, and it's probably one of the interesting ways that we both kind of diverge here. But other than coming to bridal shows, I'd rather my DJs not have to get involved in the selling process. I'd rather them first being aware of the client when it's a month or so before and they have to contact them.
And then, Mike, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, are they basically showing clips of each of the available people? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so when you say they, you mean Chris and Dominic,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So if a client comes in, I mean, for example, I was in the office on Saturday and met with a sales appointment. We chatted for about a half hour, and then I said to her, "Do you want to watch some videos?" And she said, "No, you seem pretty great," and she wanted booking me. Mm-hmm. But if Dominic, for example, is trying to book, let's say Phil Walsh, who's one of our top DJs, the client will come in, Dominic will chat with them about Phil, and then we'll put on some video clips. And we put together a number of different videos that will sell each specific DJ. One of the things we have found is if you can get a demo of a DJ at the specific banquet hall that this wedding is taking place, it's often a deal closer.
Right.
So one of my goals is to try to get every one of my top guys at every single venue. It's an impossibility, but it's a goal. So if I see, Jay Thompson is at this facility where I don't have video footage, I might even send a camera to it to get footage because I know that's something I want to get filled in. That's
great. So just asking real quickly off of a nerdy kind of technology standpoint, how are they firing that off? In other words, are you streaming it from like a laptop? Can they pull up like Jay at whatever Crowsdale Country Club and literally throw it up on the TV?
Yeah, we have a TV in the office with a hard drive. And whenever I make a new video, we put it up on the hard drive, and that's exactly how we have it filtered. So client comes in, if they're looking at Tom Monaco, boop, 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 Tom Monaco, oh, you're at the Ramada in Tom's River, boom, here's Tom at the Ramada in Tom's River. So that's the way we have them, and we've just named all the files that way so we can find them pretty quickly.
And then in that is what? Grand introduction, them leading a cha-cha slide, like give me just a...
Yeah, pretty much. We try to get as much mixing as we can in as possible as well, so... and we will point that out in the video when there's a transition, a good beat for beat mix. We'll point that out and say, here's an example of Tom beat mixing. You do hear the grand introduction, so you can hear him on the microphone. If there was any line dancing or audience participation, you'll see that, which it's funny. I put those onto my demos, even though sometimes they can turn a client off. If a client comes in and says, we don't want any line dancing whatsoever, and then we show them a video with the wobble and the Cupid shuffle, that potentially could turn them off, even though we're obviously emphasizing, the music at your wedding will be based on your requests. Sometimes clients go, oh, we don't want that. So I do understand that's a downside of showing video footage, that if you show something that client specifically doesn't want, you could turn them off. But to me, it's the next best thing to going to a wedding, which you can't do in my market. I can't send these clients to somebody else's wedding.
I mean, I can't agree with you more really on that point, because I get it a lot, especially with us, because we don't own a video company, which is one of I think your smartest moves ever. But we don't own a video company, and we don't have that kind of footage at our beck and call. Now, granted, I got relationships with people, and I could go out and start to work on that project and get Randy at Carolina Country Club and Randy at this and Joe at this. But with us, oftentimes when people call, and I still get this once a week, one, they ask, can we come see you perform? Well,
Right.
I mean, pretty much the only place that myself and really yourself, other than a corporate event or something every once in a while, perform at our age is a wedding. And I always go, now, would you want me to invite a stranger to your wedding? And then they're kind of like, oh, man, I didn't really think about it like that. I mean, you can't invite somebody to crash a $50,000, $100,000 wedding. I mean, it's just, it's crazy.
I don't even have to say that to my clients because most of the banquet halls here in New Jersey would forbid that anyway.
Right.
So I don't even have to say it's my decision. I will often just say,
Pawn
hey,
it
look,
off.
we'd love to, but the banquet hall is going to say no to it. So
Yeah.
it's just legit. And then people, I think after they ask that question, they think about it logistically and they go, yeah, it's probably not a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the same guy that comes up and asks for the really bad request at a wedding. And then,
Right.
you're like, and you make that
Right.
face and he's like, oh, man, yeah, I'm that guy.
Right.
So anyway, but my point was, so we are often asked, well, then do you have a video? And kind of my retort, if there is one to that, is, well, we don't show videos because every single Saturday is different. And I mean, there is a little bit of similarity and there are a lot of songs that we play, but I think that's why after 30 years, I still do this because every Saturday is different. This weekend, it's heavily influenced Greek crowd. So I've literally been talking on Facebook with a guy from Greece to help me put together a playlist because I have to play the Greek music. Then there's a band playing, traditional whatever cover bands play at a wedding. And then I think at the end of the night, I get to play more top 40. But, every Saturday I feel like is different, whether it's they do want line dances or they don't want line dances, or it's very mellow or it's super high energy. Like they're all a little bit different. And sometimes I feel like a video would hinder me more than help me.
So after you explain that to the client, what's your next step then?
To get them in. So, it's a great segue because this tells you, how we do it, but to get them in, to actually meet with the DJ that would be doing the event. And I would say that we're 95% once they actually take the time to come in and meet with that guy. It's very rare that somebody comes in and then contacts me a day later and go, we just didn't, that wasn't the guy, but we still want to use you. It has happened, and we've gotten the show still, but it was just that particular guy just didn't click with them. So every once in a while it doesn't work out. There's also been instances where I think, and it's been few and far between, but where I've hired guys that just couldn't sell. And I don't know if they lacked passion or personality. I mean, it's very hard to have a bad personality, I feel like, if you're calling yourself a professional DJ. But this one guy that I'm thinking about, he was kind of dull. He was a great DJ, but I think I sent him one or two leads, and after the second one fell apart, and I got some feedback, I think, from them, I just realized he really didn't have he was so dull that he couldn't sell.
Right.
So again, the lead comes in here.
And so even though that guy could have been a good DJ for you, possibly, he couldn't sell himself, and so he didn't work out at Bun.
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, I still see him around town. I think he works for another company, some, not a lot, but right, he didn't fit into the school of Bun, if you will.
Right.
So it's kind of unfortunate because, like I said, he could mix and he knew programming and he had the technical ability, but personality wise, no bueno.
See, that's always been my hesitation to having my guys sell for me is I might have a guy who's a really good DJ, but for whatever reason, just can't sell himself. But also the second thing is I've always felt if I ask my DJs to do too much, then at some point I think they're going to say to themselves, do you need to get that? What should we do here, Joe? Should we put the podcast on hold?
Right. Yeah, hold on. Or can you just cut this part?
Yeah, we'll cut this part. All right, so we're back after Joe's phone call. See, that's why I left my office, Joe. I'm here in my house. The only thing that's going to interrupt me is
a dog.
Possibly my dog.
I knew it.
My dog is kind of looking at me like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
You are. I always see you typing into that computer. I never knew you could talk to
it.
So my second point was I never want my DJs to have to do too much to fill their calendar. Because I would think at some point then they're going to say, what do I need Mike for? What do I need Elite for if I have to meet with clients and book the clients and do all that? Now, I know there are other things that you do that Bun does for their guys, but that's always been one of my hesitations towards bringing my DJs in. If you're a DJ who works for me, unless you're Dominic and Chris who work in the office, I want you to be able to have a full-time job. I want you to be able to basically meet with your clients prior to your weddings and then go do your weddings. And other than showcases, you don't need to be involved in the sales process. And for the most part, that's the case. Every once in a while, Dominic and Chris will need, hey, Jay, can you call this client and help me close a deal? They just want to hear your voice. But fortunately, it's still rare.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. That's a great point as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. And we all have. You have, I have. We've talked about it before. You talked about it at PhDJ 2.0. Shameless plug, was about how we've said, oh my God, this guy's going to be a rock star and he's going to be, he's going to be here for 10 years and they just fizzle out, or they think they're going to be the next Mike Walter or the next Joe Bunn and they go off and do their own thing. Like we've all had turnover. We've all had that level of attrition, but I think we've also gotten to the point where, the soldiers stay and the kind of people that are in the middle or at the bottom of the totem pole kind of fall off. It's very rare that I've lost, like you said, a rock star. I mean, it's happened. Don't get me wrong, and I have. Like you said, I've taught them everything, and even down to the sales thing, and they leave. But again, I'm with you. Like my guys all have other jobs. They all. Really, to be completely honest, one of the only times that we ever see somebody face-to-face is that initial consultation. The planning meeting, if you will, after they've done their planners online, is usually done the week of the wedding over the phone. And it's a quick 15-minute phone call with everybody looking at their planner.
And again, that probably works for your clients because they've already met the DJ
right
in the sales process.
Yeah.
So makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, well, listen, we said we would do 20 to 30 minutes. We're right. What are we? About 25 minutes. So I think this is good. I think that was a good. Well, how do you feel?
I feel really good. Episode one feels really good. Yeah, it felt natural.
Yeah. What are we going to do about the phone situation next week?
Okay, next week I will. Next week I'll have the phone unplugged. I couldn't find the do not disturb button, and anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, it just shows you're busy.
Yeah, I'm busy, man. I'm busy.
You wouldn't want a half hour to go by and the phone not to ring. That's people go. Is anything happening at Bun DJ?
What are these scrubs doing exactly?
So how warm will it be next week down in Raleigh?
I'm still predicting in the mid 60s.
Nice.
I may have a light jacket on.
Nice. All right. As you can see, I don't know if you can make it out.
I see that. Kind of yeah. You got the sweater.
It's winter here. What are you going to do? It's winter.
You're still right. And I still see you with the Cowboys blanket on the back of the chair.
I can't give up, man. It was a rough Sunday, but yeah, it took me a couple of days to get over it, but I'm back and I'm optimistic about next year.
I feel good too about it, but I also felt good about the Panthers this year, and you see how that worked out.
Went to the Super Bowl last year, so
not good. Yeah. Hey, Mike, tell them real quick what we got coming up in April just before we wrap this episode, if you will.
So April 4th,
yep.
4th and 5th?
Yep.
4th and 5th, we are down in Raleigh for another PhDJ workshop. Some of our listeners might have heard us talk about PhDJ 2. That was something we did back in November for the graduates. So if you're interested in attending a PhDJ 2, you'd obviously have to go through the PhDJ workshop. This is a workshop we've now done 4 times, I believe.
Yeah.
Times. And we've gotten nothing but rave reviews from the people who have graduated. And that's why we did PhDJ 2, because so many of them said, we want to learn even more from you guys, which was really which was a thrill to hear.
Yeah.
If you want to look for information and sign up, phdjworkshop.com.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yep. And then we have an Instagram account now. It's Earn Your PhDJ. So definitely follow Earn Your PhDJ. We'll be posting information about the podcast. We'll be asking you guys what you want us to talk about. And then again, like Mike said, if you want to attend the workshop or even just learn more or just see some of the testimonials about how excited people are about it, it's phdjworkshop.com. And then every graduate goes into a private Facebook group. And we have every day there's an incredible discussion there where you don't get flamed or trolled by other people on the internet that are just hating on everything you say. It's like a really small group. Mike and I usually jump on every thread as well. So that's just kind of another small bonus, if you will. Oh, I lost you right there at the end.
Oh, did you hear me? I said, well done, Joe.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah. We ended this podcast about selling by doing a little selling.
That's
pretty
why
good.
not? Why not? Why not? So we're going to try and do this every week, right, Mike?
Yeah, I'm in next week.
Sounds good, man.
And by the way, speaking of which, if you are interested in hearing Joe and I discuss any specific topic, feel free to reach out, leave a comment in whatever platform you're viewing this on.
Sure.
And maybe Joe and I will get to it in a future podcast. How's that?
Sounds great, man.
All right. Till next week.
Till next week, guys. See ya.